Log, 19th of June. In the year of our ordeal, 9 bells. Past the rising sun, township of Pattaya. Weather, 31st niece. Air thick as the doldrums. Within the oaken cinnabar belly of the Nautillo Tavern, Captain SlumG sat enthroned upon a weathered leather settee, straw hat slanted rakishly, his countenance aglow with the faintest smile, a man whose weathered gales and yet hungers for the next squall. The battered ship's ledger, travel funds, 0 doubloons out of 100, hung above the galley table like a curse in scarlet ink, and even the brass lantern seemed to flicker with uncertainty. Across from him, Payoff, the ship's negotiator, leaned forward with the intensity of a man scenting both opportunity and mutiny, his voice a measured whisper. "Captain, the coffers are bare, and the crew's patience thinner than a Siamese tide. If we linger in port without gold or glory, how long before the boatswain's men seek another master?" Yet before the captain could answer, a gentle chill fluttered through the tavern's air, a sign to those who believed that Amma, the friendly shade, a phantom guide unseen, but ever present, hovered close. Her whisper brushed SlumG's ear, warm as hope. "The hearts of your crew are not lost, Captain. Lift their spirits, and let a new quest be your rallying cry." The captain's smile widened, and he rose, knuckles rapping the tabletop, voice ringing clear as a ship's bell. "Hearken, mates! This day we take our fortunes in hand. Who among you will cast the first coin in the chest, and who will follow me beyond the harbor's edge, where legends are born and cowards are forgotten?" The hush that followed trembled with possibility, as if the very tide itself awaited their answer. Log, 20th June, year of our ordeal, midday watch, Nautillo galley, Isle of Pattaya. Weather, 32nd. Balmy with a salt-bright sun. Beneath the vaulted, crimson-padded walls of the Nautillo galley, a snug, well-provisioned haunt, beloved of weary mariners and cunning traders, Captain SlumG sat in quiet command at the captain's table, his straw-brimmed hat angled just so, the glimmer of rising resolve in his eyes. The battered ship's ledger, travel fund, 0-100 doubloons, hung above the table, a silent dare for any brave enough to fill it. Peter Parley, ever the negotiator, lounged nearby, voice sly as a tide pool. "Captain, fortune favors not the idle. Are you the sort to mend your nets while the sea is thick with silverbacks, or will you trade wit for gold this day?" Before the captain could retort, Vash Catchum swung a leg over a barrel, grinning wide, the sun catching in his eyes. "I'll wager hope and laughter are worth as much as coin, Petter. Let's make this port echo with our names." At that, the spectral Amma, the friendly shade, drifted unseen among them, stirring a gentle breeze through the galley and scattering the dust of old doubts. "Every voyage begins with a single pledge, lads," she murmured, her words a shiver in the air. Quartermaster Prince Iskandar stepped forth, rolling the ancient map across the table, his tone solemn yet bright. "Let us chart a course, Captain, be it for riches or renown. Your crew stands ready." As sunlight spilled through the porthole, painting the battered table gold, the crew fell silent, hearts thundering in unison. For in that moment the Nautillo was no mere tavern, but the cradle of a legend, its walls holding not only the ache of hunger, but the spark of 100 unmade fortunes. Log, 20th of June, year of our ordeal, the sun's zenith, main thoroughfare, Isle of Pattaya. Weather, 33rd. blinding bright, the air heavy with salt and spice. Beneath the merciless midday glare, Captain SlumG stood astride the bustling strand of Pattaya's main bazaar, straw hat shading his brow, maroon tunic catching the breath of a lazy monsoon wind, as if he were surveying the decks of a marketplace galleon, adrift upon a river of foreign tongues and glinting coin. The flags of rival traders, Nataya's House of Healing, Sharmaji's spice hold, and the infamous Baywatch Tavern fluttered above him, each a siren's call to passing mariners. At his side, Pattaya, quick-eyed and ever the diplomat, leaned in with a low chuckle. Captain, these stalls reek of bargain and betrayal. If there's gold to be found, it'll cost us more than coin. Perhaps a sliver of dignity. Perhaps a tale best left untold. From amidst the press of rickety carts and parked scooters, Zero Winslow, his hands still ink-stained from mapping the last navigational riddle, called out, "Word from the crow's nest, sir. Some say the main offices lie Yong-shiu on Nandijan East Day. In Central Festival, aid for our ailing compass, if only we dare lose sight of the ship for a spell." Prince Iskandar, ever steadfast, pressed a folded parchment to SlumG's palm, voice a steady anchor in the din. "There's wisdom in counsel, Captain. Even a moment's silence in the storm may lead us to safer tide. Yet as the air shimmered with barter and jest, why linger, Captain? Boot her up anew, let not a little tempest halt our quest." The crew's loyalty was a live wire, tense between hope and impatience. SlumG's eyes danced with the promise of peril and plenty, and with a single finger tracing the curve of his chin, he set his gaze westward, toward the maze of alleys and fortunes, ready to persuade both fate and crew that no voyage worth its salt ever turned from the unknown at the edge of the day. Log 20th June. Year of our ordeal, the scorched deck, market front anchorage, Isle of Pattaya. Weather 30 noon sun like a cannonade. Captain SlumG, draped in his crimson tunic and that battered straw brim, perched atop a barrel beside the main thoroughfare of Pattaya, a stretch as bustling as any bazaar port from the tales of old. The brilliant sun hammered down, turning every sign and shutter into molten brass, while the captain's gaze, unwavering and intent, scanned the flowing tide of townsfolk and traders as though he could spot fortune or mutiny in each face. Surrounding him, the shore-leave crew kept a wary eye on their coin and on each other. Prince Iskandar, the quartermaster, unfurled a parchment and barked, "She may bend for 900, Captain. Such prices are but reefs, meant to snag the unwary." Pattaya, ever the shrewd bargainer, let out a hearty laugh, slapping the coin purse at his hip. "Only an Indian can haggle such a storm. Yet beware, every coin spent is a tale written in the ship's ledger." Amid their banter, Zero Winslow, eyes sharp as a gull's, sidled close, lowering his voice. "Captain, the coffers are drained, and word from the mess is some envy Simon's fortunes across the harbor. If we're to keep the crew from jumping ship, we need not just gold, but glory." At that, Dr. Hendricus, the physician, raised his flask in a toast, voice ringing with persuasive fervor. "Let the doubters learn that survival lies not in hoarding doubloons, but in facing the unknown with unity and valor. Will you yield to despair, or seize this day, crew?" As laughter and jeers rose, some bold, some biting, the captain's calm endured, a lighthouse amidst the chaos, his voice finally booming across the sun-struck deck. "Heed me, mates. In this crucible of foreign streets and temptations, every jest, every wager, every coin will bind us tighter or scatter us to the waves. Who among you will risk the heat and hazard, not for gold alone, but for the legacy that echoes beyond any port or call? And as the afternoon wore on, sweat beading on brows and hands clutching pouches tight, the crew's fate hung in the balance, each jest and bargain another test of their resolve, each moment a fresh squall in the unending voyage for treasure, belonging, and the hope that somewhere beyond the next sun-drenched alley, destiny itself awaited their muster. Log 20th of June, year of our ordeal. Her spell past high noon, abeam the glittering isles of Pattaya. Weather, 34 Fatic seasons. Sun, flashing on the azure tide like blade edges. Air thick with the scent of salt and promise. Aboard the tender skiff, Doom's Delight. Captain SlumG beamed beneath his purple life jacket, that battered straw hat abandoned in favor of windswept locks, and a gleam in his eye fierce as the tropic sun. The city's skyline, Pattaya's own spires and glassy battlements, rose behind him. Antiam, a fortress of the foreign daring the SlumG's crew to seize its bounty. To port, Prince Iskandar adjusted the pump handle and grinned beneath his mirrored spectacles, voice ringing out. Our hull's still afloat, Captain. A finer sea day I've yet to see, though the tide's purse remains as empty as a miser's heart. On starboard, Peter Parley shaded his face with a teal kerchief, his laughter tumbling over the rails. 50 doubloons in the chest. Enough, perhaps, to buy a round of grog, but not our passage home. Who among you will stake coin that the next wager brings fortune, not folly? As the skiff sliced through emerald swells, the crew's shouts mingled with the distant calls of rival boats, each man daring the others to feats of bravado and jests sharp as harpoons. Yet beneath the revelry, a current of mutiny swirled. Zero Winslow, ever the scribe, barked, Captain, how many more times will we gamble our ship's future on a game of chance and wind? Vash Ketchum, unbowed, flung his arms wide and crowed, Let the world see us soar, let the shorebound tremble at our joy. Today we ride the sky, tomorrow we conquer the storm. Dr. Hendricus, steady at the stern, called above the uproar, Remember, brothers, no gold nor glory is worth a soul lost to recklessness. Rally your wits as you rally your spirits, lest the sea claim all. The city glimmered ahead, the crew's laughter echoing across the water, but every smile carried the taste of danger. A game of loyalty and longing played beneath a sun that brooked no illusions, and a sea that showed no mercy. Log, 20th of June, year of our ordeal. 4 bells past midday. The sun-struck wall of white coral, outskirts of Market Anchorage, Isle of Pattaya, weather 34 degrees sans, noon glare fierce as cannon fire. The deckhands had scattered to shade and scavenge, leaving Captain SlumG propped against the sun-bleached bulwark of a coral-white wall, his battered straw hat cocked at a rakish tilt, a maroon sailor's shirt clinging to his back, and a battered ration packet clutched to his chest like a secret chart. The heat shimmered in waves, forging illusions across the empty avenue. Yet at his elbow, Quartermaster Prince Iskandar stooped over a weather-stained map, sweat glinting on his brow, voice unwavering. Captain, the men grow weak from hunger and hope alike. Will you not rally them? The last doubloons in our purse are dwindling, but a morsel shared is a victory against despair. Peter Parley, ever the sharp-eyed negotiator, leaned in with a sly grin, tapping the water bottle as though it were a cask of finest rum. Aye, Iskandar, what's left we split, and what's missing we conjure with wit. Let's wager, Captain. Who among us can summon laughter when the wind is dead? Over the wall, the distant calls of traders tangled with the squawks of hidden birds, and the quiet was broken by Vash Ketchum's buoyant shout, from amid the trees. It's not fortune that fills a sailor's belly, but fellowship. Let us feast on jest and tale. Who'll match my joke or dare my wager? Even as the sun beat down mercilessly, the wall bloomed with the shadows of gallant men, and Captain SlumG, catching the spark in his companion's eyes, lifted his ration high and called out, "Crew of the Slum Gull, every crumb and coin given is a banner unfurled against the storm. Who here will claim this moment, not for gold, but for glory?" And with that, a ripple of laughter, argument, and fond insult ran round the encampment, debt and doubt momentarily forgotten beneath the shared sun, while above them all the battered travel ledger glimmered at half-mark, a promise that unity, not coin, was the truest currency of those who dared the open sea. Log, 20th of June, year of our ordeal, 7 bells past afternoon. Watch, the lantern room, port of Pattaya, weather 34 Tuxeaks, air thick with the rumor of rain. Within the mellow-lit confines of the lantern room, a sailor's refuge clad in cushioned benches and glass-topped tables polished by 1,000 homeward hands, Captain SlumG reclined in rare ease, his playful straw hat perched askew as laughter thundered from his chest, echoing louder than the clamor of any storm. The battered ship's ledger, its progress toward salvation marked boldly for all to see, glimmered atop the table beside a precious flask of water, a pile of mopped rags, and the crew's latest marvel, a clockwork speaking box said to connect them with far-off kin. Around him clustered the heart of his voyage. Quartermaster Prince Iskandar, eyes ever bright, raised a toast of icy buttermilk as if it were the rarest grog, declaring, "See, Captain, the bounty grows richer with each coin pledged and every jest exchanged. Today, even the smallest morsel brings us closer to safe harbor." Pattaya, the ship's negotiator, cut in slyly, scrutinizing the fare with a wry grin. "Mind the portion, Iskandar? Too generous, and we'll have a mutiny of waistcoats before we see open water again." From the far end, Dr. Hendricus, always both healer and philosopher, leaned forward, voice gentle yet steely. "Let laughter and good cheer be our ballast, for no crew lost to bitterness ever survived Neptune's wrath. Let every hearty jest and shared crust remind us why we sail, for hope, for kinship, for the promise that together we are greater than any gale." As the captain's laughter washed over the room, infectious as spring tide, Bran Questmark scribbled omens into his battered logbook, and Brother Nugget slid a fresh plate down the polished table, booming, "Eat, drink, and rally, mates. For every doubloon cast and every tale told, the storm outside grows a little less fearsome, and our voyage a little more certain." And so, in that golden hour between tempest and twilight, the crew's spirits soared. Each coin pledged and plate passed not just a step toward home, but a victory over despair itself, urging every hand and heart onward before the next squall. Log, 20th of June, year of our ordeal, 10 bells, past evening. Watch, lantern quarter, Isle of Pattaya. Weather, 30 Tuxeaks, the air thick with echoes of rain and revelry. Beneath a vault of neon lanterns and rain-lacquered signboards, Captain SlumG strode boldly through the lantern quarter, his straw hat aglow in the mercantile dazzle, poncho shimmering like the oil skin of an old, salt-braving foreign storms. At his side danced a local lass, with hair the color of coral fire, her laugh ringing above the din as if daring fortune itself to test their cheer. "Easy there, Captain," called Brother Nugget from beside a hawker's cart, waving a skewer aloft. "Will you not taste the bounty this isle offers before the next gale claims us?" Prince Iskandar, steady as ever, eyed the ledger tucked beneath SlumG's arm, its crimson scroll now halfway to salvation, and murmured, "The crew's purse swells! But what of their spirits, Captain? It takes more than gold to keep a voyage afloat." The crowd shouts, their bargains and beckons, rose and fell like the tide, each a test of will and wit. Dr. Hendricus, pausing in the shadow of a glowing apothecary, offered a sage warning. "This port is a gift and a snare. Let not the night's sweetness fog your judgment, for every stranger is both tempter and teacher." Yet Captain SlumG only grinned wider, turning to his orange-haired companion and the gathering townsfolk. "Raise your cups, mates. Tonight, every new friend is a wind in our sails, every jest a beacon, and every doubloon pledged a promise that we fear neither storm nor stranger." In that moment, as the crew mingled with the vibrant throng, laughter and hope tangled in the sultry air, and the battered travel fund glimmered above them all, a rallying cry that, by coin and camaraderie, they would brave whatever uncharted waters the night might bring. Log, 20th June, year of our ordeal, 10 bells past dog watch. The crimson tables, lantern bazaar of Pattaya. Weather, 28 Dixis. Lanterns agleam, the night thick with spice and promise. Amidst a roaring tide of townsfolk and traders, Captain SlumG and his loyal companion Bran Questmark held council beneath the garish glow of the lantern bazaar. Each man perched atop a scarlet-planked table, the captain's straw hat casting playful shadows across his rain-slicked poncho, a green glass bottle raised in a toast that caught the light like an emerald beacon. "Mark me, Bran," SlumG declared, his arms sweeping to encompass the chaos. Hawkers hollering, skewers sizzling, a jade-eyed lady in black, flashing a conspiratorial smile from the next berth. "Each feast and flagon in this port is a prize no storm could wrest from us. Yet tell me, scholar, do you see omens in this revel, or shadows lurking beneath our newfound mirth?" Bran, ever the watchful lookout, swirled his bottle thoughtfully, eyes drifting beyond the din to the distant stars. "Captain, the winds favor us tonight, a good omen. But beware, for in every haven's laughter the sea hides her next test. Will you let comfort anchor us here, or rally the crew for greater deeds?" As the clamor of kick messages, raucous cheers, cryptic jests, and triumphant toasts rose in a swelling chorus about them, the travel above the market flickered with each new pledge, its numbers climbing like a tide on the turn. SlumG grinned broad as the moon, voice ringing clear, "So long as there's coin to be claimed, stories to be spun, and spirits to unite, we sail on. Who here will follow, and who will let the fire in their belly be doused by the comforts of shore?" And with that, the crew's laughter mingled with the market's song, the promise of further adventure, stitched into every shared glance and every clink of bottle upon battered table. Proof, if any were needed, that the voyage of the Slum Gull was far from its final harbor. Log, 20th of June, year of our ordeal, 8 bells past the dog watch. The Lantern Bazaar, Isle of Pattaya. Weather, 28 degrees. Night breeze, soft as a lover's hand. There, amid the lantern-lit tumult of Pattaya's night bazaar, Captain SlumG held court at a battered oaken table, a green glass bottle poised in his grasp, his gaze searching the merry throng beyond the flicker of red banners and foreign sigils. The crew feasted around him, locals and wandering mariners, shoulder to shoulder, their laughter and tales weaving a tapestry of newfound kinship, as Brother Nugget, proud in his oilskin apron, ladled out steaming bowls of seafood stew with a flourish. "Fill your bellies, mates. Every bite is a song against the dark." Bran Questmark, ever the keen-eyed lookout, leaned close, voice pitched low, so only the captain might hear. See, sir, how fortune smiles upon us. Each coin in the ledger is not mere gold, but a beacon. Proof that even the most marooned soul may yet find safe harbor should he dare trust the fellowship of strangers. A cheer rose as a fresh purse landed heavy on the tabletop. Another soul pledging their faith in the voyage. Another star added to the captain's chart. SlumG raised his bottle high, rallying those gathered. Heed me, crew. Let not comfort shackle us, nor coin alone define our worth. Tonight we feast and remember. The greatest fortune is found not in gold, but in the hands we grasp beside the firelight. Who here will answer when the next wind calls? Who among you dares risk the open sea for legend's sake? And as the market's revels thundered into the humid night, hope, buoyed by laughter, unity, and the promise of yet